All right, Jason Quick is on the line. All right, Jason Quick of The Athletic joins us here on 710 ESPN. Jason, first of all, George Sedano here, Beto Duran with us as well. Big fan of your work. I've always read your stuff. I love your feature stuff particularly. Yep. But for today, we here in Los Angeles are obviously very interested in some of the reporting you've done on Deandre Ayton. So how would you best describe what you witnessed and discussed with sources and whatnot about Deandre Ayton's last stop in Portland?
Well, I think the best way to describe it is, and I think the people in Phoenix can attest to this as well, is I don't think DeAndre's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad player, but he's always going to leave you wanting more. He's just an underachiever. And, in Portland, he played 2 years, and his first year was really rocky. He was late to a bunch of team functions, be it practices, planes, rehab assignments. He threw tantrums when he was taken out of the game, either, slamming the bench, throwing his water bottle, or back in the locker room, throwing tantrums. So he was really difficult. And the thing that I find interesting about him signing with the Lakers is his first year in Portland, Scott Brooks was the lead assistant for Chauncey Billups. And obviously now Scott is with the Lakers. So I'm sure Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick really grilled Scotty about the history of DeAndre and what they're getting here. And obviously Scotty probably had enough good things to say, but I think DeAndre is really going to test the patience of the pros in the Laker locker room, because he's immature. He thinks he's better than he is, and he's just kind of goofy. Some people think that's fun and carefree, but the veterans in the Blazers locker room countless times would roll their eyes when he would come blaring through the locker room singing or saying nonsense. And it's just, after a while, I think that lack of professionalism, when you're like that and you're missing or being late to planes and bus rides and practices, that wears on you a little bit.
Now, Jason, you know how Laker fans get, right? Whoever they get, that's going to be the next person. That's going to be the one that's going to change it around, because the Laker culture can change it. You've been to L.A. so many times. You know what you're dealing with. Now, the Laker culture, LeBron and Luka, whatever that is, can it help Ayton? Can it change him, or is he just going to be him?
I think he's just going to be him. I mean, I think he turns 27 this month in about a week. He's played with Chris Paul and still had the same issues. Played with Jeremy Grant, not exactly a huge veteran, but I just think, the only thing I think that is going in the Lakers' favor right now is this is two teams now that have kind of given up on DeAndre, and I think that he might realize, or at least hopefully people in his camp are saying, this might be one of your last chances, to kind of show that you can get over that hump and be an impact player. So if he understands that this might be his last chance, and then I think, the spotlight and the honor and the pressure of playing with LeBron will probably add something to that. So I think there's a chance he can turn, but I don't know. I've been covering this league for almost 30 years, and I think by the time you reach 27, you are who you are.
Yeah, I mean, he's played 7 years in the league. Jason Quick with us here of The Athletic, was around Ayton in Portland. And here's the other thing. I mean, that to me is already a red flag. And look, he's got a great agent in Bill Duffy. He's Luka Doncic's agent as well. But, the fact that his people around him would even have to tell him, hey, this could be your last chance, and he doesn't realize that on his own potentially could be a red flag for me. The other part is this, and look, I've known Chauncey Billups a long time. I worked with him here at ESPN. I love Chauncey. I think Chauncey's had to have a lot of patience there, considering the way things have gone in Portland. But Chauncey, to me, has always been a good leader, right? And has been able to relate to guys. And the fact that he couldn't connect with him, I think to me, speaks volumes about where Ayton was even at that stage, because I don't know someone that doesn't respect and connect with Chauncey.
Exactly. And, it even goes back to Chauncey's playing career where he was able to kind of get productive years out of J.R. Smith in Denver and Chris Anderson, the Birdman in Denver. He even, I don't know if he could totally curtail Rasheed Wallace, but he, Rasheed helped Chauncey and them win a title in Detroit. So you're right. The fact that Chauncey couldn't get to him, I think DeAndre was better in his second year as far as the tardiness and the tantrums. But still they were there. And I still think there was frustration from the coaching staff on what they were getting out of DeAndre. I mean, the most public display was in December against the Jazz. And, the Jazz is one of the worst teams in the league, and they were smoking the Blazers. They come out at halftime, 2 minutes into the third quarter, Chauncey calls a timeout. It's just pissed and benches Ayton, benches him for the rest of the game. And after the game, he's like, I didn't like his spirit. And when you have that from a veteran, a guy making $35 million a year, and you're getting yanked against the worst team in the league because your effort isn't there, your spirit isn't there, that's a huge red flag. And there were several occasions throughout his 2 years in Portland where he was yanked out of games and benched and, didn't return. That was just kind of the more public one and obvious one. But yeah, there's going to be, like I said at the start, he's going to leave Laker fans wanting more.
For me, it was always the frustration of watching him one day 16-16, and then comes back with a 2-6 kind of game. So why is he so inconsistent?
I think it's just the effort. And then also, I think his right knee is bothers him. I think he drags that right knee a ton, and he missed a lot of games in Portland because of right knee tendonitis. And then last year he didn't play after February because he strained his calf in Denver. So he only played 40 games last year, 55 games the year before. But I think it's an effort thing. It's a mental thing where he just isn't always locked in. He isn't always given the effort. I can't, he gets a ton of rebounds, but it's like I always argued. I think rebounding is the most overrated stat in the NBA because I think he left his feet for, maybe a 10% of his rebounds. And the last time he has kind of outworked somebody for a rebound, I can't remember. So he's not a guy who's going to wow you with his effort. He's not a guy who's going to outmuscle guys. He's not going to deter guys at the rim, but he's got a beautiful little jumper around the free throw line. He's a decent lob threat. But he's going to frustrate the heck out of you guys.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Jason Quick of The Athletic with us here on Sedano and Kap on 710 ESPN. Jason, thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. See you guys.
Take care.